Hey guys, so I'm back. Alright, so this is the 28th, I think, or the 27th. Most probably the 27th. Okay, so we have something to read about yesterday. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman, ... Yeah. I think we handled that pretty well. Okay, so I don't know if I made the right choice in telling him the truth about her meeting with Zach, but we'll have to see what will happen. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed this week while I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Oh, okay, so this is the 28th, I think. Well, that's suspicious. Today is going to be a busy day. Although, unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from the original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Okay, so I can be wrong about, like, this portrait, because, I mean, maybe they just didn't change it, but perhaps that is just supposed to be them when they were young, in high school or whatever. But, you know, it was just so... Couldn't they have added that later, then? Couldn't they just have gotten rid of the paintings until they were moved in? Because, I mean, they're here now, so I guess they're just supposed to be of them. Oh well.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even brought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case everyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests to spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task. Wait, you mean on the wind? The wind? Where that the letter was?
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless... Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, a lot of them really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Mary Ann's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize wherever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Oh. Well... Be honest with me.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Real talk. So... Hey. Well, there you go. I wonder how different the game will play out if you just get bad relationships with everybody. It's going to be catastrophe, I'm sure.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I start staring to my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. Then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see your little martial troubles? Surely, we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. say there are words to make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated a choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where a relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow out to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there is still a part of me that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There's a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back, down, or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive, because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Yeah, so it's the 28th. So we have skipped a day. We didn't know. We have no idea what he's been up to. Suspicious, suspicious. Suspicious indeed. Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. Did I say marital? Marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter excused herself from attending the party. Alright. I'm so curious about looking at this, but I guess I shouldn't. And oh well. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired a service of the temp agency which provides staff a right enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and server good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children, as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To pursue the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet raise up to play for the evening, turning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, brooches, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by simple cake, just a 5-tier chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I do not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed, Luke, right. And I can't help but to add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman and made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned a company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor relation and public relations, supervision of staff, and well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite a attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me, it took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, philosophy, to little things such as what we have for breakfast or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me the husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate, a woman who will always be there for him yet will never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, preparing the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car too. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media events as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxembourg. So far, who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we're experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Just as that young man with this oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
And then there are all people like the chief inspector. People I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
She told me. Bet she's
Oops.
lying and that
Sorry.
she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. She told me she'll just be in the gardens.
There you go.
It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax, I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him? No matter how hard I try to do so. At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to tend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have a good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. When they're not anywhere watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. The local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worries about the stolen belongings and one of his patrons. A failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there's that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance in the air she instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is not great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder if he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh, she's here, isn't she? Oh, jeez. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing. Taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hands shake, and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the boss of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Her name is familiar like a fond memory. Reunion. Oh. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stuffies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she bought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you. You were the cutest little thing with glasses. And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Wait, even back then? Girl, that's so sad. Have you liked him ever since? Forever? Oh.
What was it again? Alan, Adele. Albert? Alexander? Andrew?
The more a list of names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash!
Oh.
That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about.
Well, I mean, she was a child, so the possibility of her being tiny is pretty high, I'd say.
But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Yeah, that's probably never going to happen if he still hasn't noticed, girl.
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with. It's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to just say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she just said in my head. Becky told me is very different from what Miriam told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the shatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There's only one man who's audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright Mansion.
Unlike Guy, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How I listen, enraptured, and if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love the sight of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Noticing a second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becca's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, phrases on their lips. It is because of this that I did not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Oh, okay. Pregnant woman? Is that like that dude's wife? I don't remember, Lee? They were called Lee? That does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. Oh. How much is she in bed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh, Rochelle, right. She likes Rochelle, right? Yeah, that was the woman that she quite liked. The one, like, friend she had.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her fingers in my direction before she rants on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out amongst the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol in her breath. I'm not taken off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of resistance and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indescribable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle!
What's the story here?
Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask the exact same question. Same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
Did he knock her up?
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me? What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk! That's all it is! Just completely and utterly mad! Has anyone seen the chief inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard! You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh, shit.
God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Yo, Hans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
Well, yes, she does.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johannes returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behaviour. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle said is truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are not to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. I guess that's why he got so riled up when we mentioned babies before, because he felt maybe guilty, maybe not even guilty, but I mean, well, I guess some guilt. I guess that's why people get defensive like that, kind of angry, is because they feel some sort of guilt, but it's not enough. We can read this now. I just wanted to wait a little bit just in case it would be like spoilers. So, the Wright Mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Steele, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gills were seen attending. However, what was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn baby. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over your child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never. He will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine. Who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil? Doesn't that just make my blood boil to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. I'm a little bit unsure about what this means. I'm a bit unsure. You know, I'm actually going to say, because I'm a bit unsure about what they mean with this. Is this like keep working on the relationship and this is breaking off? I guess I'm just saying it just in case, because I don't want to have to replay a bunch. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure what to choose. Well, I don't know. This is actually difficult. I don't know. She seems like a shed, to be fair. Maybe she needs a break. I'm just like, I'm going to try. I'm a bit unsure about this means. Is this like breaking off with him for a while? Being on a break? It is saved, so yeah, I think that's why it's going on. This is interesting. I wonder if this is I don't know. I don't know if this is the right choice to make at all. Maybe Marianne had a point. If I'm frustrated, if I'm unhappy, maybe a break is needed. Some time apart might be just what the doctor ordered. Time apart to clear our heads and to think for ourselves, or for myself to be exact. Because looking at this mess before me just brings me nothing but distress. I feel a bit nauseous, actually, now that I think about it. Looks too busy making a scene to notice, and the concerned Becky pulls me to the side. She looks as disturbed as I am by this sudden turn of events. Probably not a big fan of drama. Definitely not used to it, at any rate. Not surprising, as her parents were lovely yet simple people.
Hey, I figured you could use the save. You looked like you weren't doing too hot back there. Do we need to call a doctor or something?
Oh no, I'll just be needing some fresh air, that's all. Some help getting out of here would be much appreciated.
Sure, that won't be a problem. I wanted to get away from this drama too anyway. Just... Hey, Zachary! Hey, Zach!
At the mention of his name, I can't help but see him out in the crowd as he makes his way over. They know each other?
Becca, this is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
If I am to assign a random number to dictate the odds of having two of my acquaintances known each other, I'll say the odds are 1 out of 1,000. And if this is in any other situation, I would have been suspicious. It isn't completely impossible to have two random strangers who have met on separate occasions to know each other, and what would be complete random happenstance. It's just that it's been faked before to try and dope me because of who I am and who I am married to. But right now, coincidence or not, I'm just grateful for the help. As long as this doesn't turn out into a kidnapping anyway.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hannah. Did I not?
Yeah, you did. So this is what you called me for. We gonna get Hannah out of here?
I can see that they're friends. Not terribly close ones, but friends nonetheless.
That'd be great.
They make quick work of getting us through the crowd. The people part because of Zachary's broad build, even if they want to approach me. If that isn't enough, Becky's pointed glares keep them at bay. We even make it out of the ballroom without any untoward incident. Though judging by the commotion in the other room, the same cannot be said about the unexpected eviction. I really do need the fresh air. I need to be away from those nosy Parkers. I need to be away from Luke. This is a good start as any. You know, I think this is actually pretty good too, to get to become friends with these guys. Because they're all going to be seeing those ladies and maybe, you know, just together solve this and stay alive. So this is probably the better choice, I think. For their survival, at least. Rose hasn't seen anything, at least not yet. But now we've noticed that both her and Zach have seen it. And when am I going to be playing as Rebecca? Okay, so it's pretty late. I'm going to be playing as Zach and Marianne okay. This is a good start.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hannah?
Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here.
Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Becky balks at the idea of going back into the ballroom. Anyone who hasn't yet would have realized I am gone by now. And those busybodies will be gossiping about how I left the building with two unknowns. Along with what just transpired, stories both inaccurate and made up will spread by the night's end. It all matters very little in the grand scheme of things, of course. I won't even bother to try and quell them by returning to the fray. That leaves me with...
Zachary?
Yeah, you need something?
I was only going to say how nice it is to see you again.
Oh, okay.
I can see the tension in the line of his shoulders. Odd how awkward he is when this isn't our first meeting. We had met on professional terms, certainly, but I'd like to think I was friendly. Nonetheless, I did not push the issue about the apparent discomfort when we were left alone. Not right away, at any rate. I know my curiosity will get the better of me soon. Before I can say anything, however, he speaks up.
You okay there, Hana? I mean, of course you're not okay after what happened in there. I mean, that was terrible, but you're not gonna just fall down and faint or anything, right?
I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
A beat.
I should be asking you the same thing. I remember you being a lot more eloquent.
Oh, yeah. I'm just not too good with staying too long in a crowded room. Or handling intense drama, you know? Sorry about my clothes. Didn't think there'd be a dress code. Not that I have anything that nice to wear to a shindig like this. I dig nice, small, simple parties, so this is a real doozy for me.
And do you host your own nice, small, and simple parties often?
Only when there's occasion, birthdays and stuff. Those are a lot more fun for me, and I can be a lot more selective about letting only the people I'm cool with attend, right? I get to pick the food, too. Of course, I make most of them myself. There's usually a dozen people or less, and all we really do is just hang out. Maybe do some grilling, karaoke, dancing, you know, the usual.
Not usual for her, no.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. You sure you're all right? You aren't exactly being eloquent yourself, as you put it. You must have something you want to get off your chest.
I don't know, Zachary. What am I supposed to say?
You can scream Merd if you want. I won't snitch.
You want to know what I think? How I feel? I think my friend may have slept with my husband. At least, I'm pretty sure she isn't pregnant with his baby, which isn't much now, is it? My husband is a selfish, pretentious, bloody sack of shite, and you know what? I don't give a flying fuck anymore! My God!
Well, that ain't good. Not giving a crap won't make the problem go away.
I'm going to ask him for a break, Zachary. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a problem, but I just need to step back.
Fair enough. As long as you don't just up and disappear on him, I suppose.
Yes. Now can we please stop talking about him? Tell me more about your small, simple parties, karaoke and dancing. How does that even go together?
Simple, really. We hope Ash doesn't take the mic, put on a bit of fun music, and just dance. Not that I can. But there ain't nothing complex about it.
You can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good with the twist. Or that's what they tell me, at least. I think they're just being nice. I'm sure it just looks awkward.
Oh. Oh my. I don't want to be too forward. I'm not even sure if I want to, like, romance him or anything. I'm really unsure about... I'm not really feeling any, like, specific ship or whatever. I'm not sure what to do. Maybe... I don't want to put him on the spot either, so... At least he can cook, I guess?
At least you can cook, allegedly. You still bring no proof.
This party ain't exactly a potluck, is it?
True, true. Perhaps you can invite me to one of your simple parties. I will bring the cake.
Yeah, why not? But with a cake that big, like at your housewarming party, we'll be eating frosting for weeks. Maybe make it a little simpler and it's a deal.
Simple would be nice.
Yeah. Sounds like she needed. Did he, like, I don't know. Oh, maybe it went down. Oops. Hold on. Okay, so I wish the same can be said about what I'm about to do. Simple isn't the adjective I will use to describe the task at hand. Because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that, no, this is not a divorce? Not yet, at least. Possibility is there, But still, how am I even to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Cutting too deeply into my sausages, I open my mouth to excuse myself. That is, until I spy Luke mashing on and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child. He has been silent all the while, chin in his hand and elbow resting on the table. I'm worried at my absence after the debacle may have caused more harm than good.
Luke?
It's not you. Okay, it's you. Great. Well, I mean, he's... Hopefully, if he's actually a good person, this will make him think. And she needs to think what she needs to do, you know? I mean, he's been neglecting her quite a bit. At least, okay, so we're only obviously been playing from her point of view, so of course it is biased by her point of view. Keeping that in mind, might get a total shock when we play like from his angle. Who knows, right?
I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
In my words, he grows still and silent. I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I take it as my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps. I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime. But I won't be moving out right away. So that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
Wow, he's very calm about this. Exactly. It isn't supposed to be this easy, is it? Can you really react so aloof to it?
Isn't this to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals. You can even have all the wine you want, though I'd rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hana. Well, it's partly that, but...
The man stops playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate aside.
What's wrong, Luke?
He slumps back in his chair and just stops short of putting his feet up on a table. I suspect he's wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hands.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen. Will you want me to start on the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot?
Whoa, what? She didn't say that.
Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her. You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell right? Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty. Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes her whole statement laughable.
Sure, whatever you say.
His mouth draws into a thin line and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that has been built up by my obeisance and his hubris, and it looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
Probably. It feels like I did the wrong decision. I'm a bit unsure now, but I mean, this was the decision I intended to make, so I'm not going to go back, you know, because...
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps? I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods, and I'll be lying if I said that didn't disappoint me. Right. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, a devastated Hannah was seen exiting the ballroom with Rebecca, Gales, and Zachary Steele. Hannah was left in care of the man, and Rebecca had to go back to the party in search of Ashton. Now alone, the two had a talk, and both were smiling by the end of it. During breakfast, Hannah asked Luke for a break. She'd be moving back to her penthouse for a couple of days. Despite trying to remain aloof, her husband accused her of wanting a divorce. Hannah insisted she simply needed a break from him. So there's only 3 days left. Interesting. And it's when she's in the penthouse. Hopefully she's not going to be killed alone in the penthouse. But no. No. I don't know if I don't think the lady's been in the penthouse, but I mean it seems to appear everywhere anyways, so probably doesn't matter. And I'll be lying if I said that didn't disappoint me. I expected more resistance. The man could be stubborn as a mule if he wants to be. Perhaps I can leave now just to spite him. But that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, a thing we both surely wish to avoid, we can still leave on amicable terms. There is no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here? Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you? Go ahead. I won't stop you.
Go ahead. And do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems. Whenever I stepped up to the plate and tried to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job. I mean, Johan's overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole. That doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been the chore that took the most effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hannah, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchen in the first place. It's not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut up from the rest of Luxborn the mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution is supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal is in the area. Will take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. It takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rare in one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list. She who must not be named. Right. Shell? That doesn't leave much in a category close friends who attended the party along with a category who else is awake at this early hour. Soon enough I manage and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here. Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well. He was really kind and wonderful.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two are on a first name basis and all. So his number, right, it's...
Oh gosh. The call starts through static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words too. I can barely understand what she's saying. 78760304, and the line completely dies. I can feel a headache come along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. Oh, I hate headaches so much. The static is gone and that helps a lot. There's still that incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile is turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? No, don't! Don't! Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading into the wine cellar once more. No! That's when the clicking stops, and I can hear the crying, that familiar crying from before. What happened the other day, when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody's crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. I might have forgotten to lock it with the party going on.
This again?
Don't! Oh, you're so going to die.
If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
No! I didn't get an option. What was the point what was the point then? Look. Sure enough, I'll take this a bit of a pull to open the hatch. Seriously though, what was the point in getting the choice the other time if I have to do this either way? Or... I guess that's the curse then. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just a sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. As I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me, and I can just feel her rage. Help me! She wants to drown me, drag me down and crush me in the very depths of darkness until there's nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me, for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. Oh, okay, what? There's a rope around my neck, and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it is not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. And I'm me, but not me. Press tab to what? Why? Ah, why? No, oh, there's, okay. What's going on? N. Okay. Alright. It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble, and I can just feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. And if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hana? Hana, what is going on in here?
And...
Why are you?
And he's actually worried for once.
Prince!
What? What? Prince? Was that like some weird... Seeing Luke, something snaps back and I'm able to take a grasp of air in my own volition for the first time in what feels like centuries. Exactly, so that was probably... So I don't remember, like, I need to go back to, like, the very first second of this game and just really, like, the little lore of the house again. But I suppose, it was like someone committed suicide, I think. I really need to read that again. But yeah, I guess that was her feelings, and that prince calling is probably that black-haired woman's. I guess. Okay. Yeah, because she felt like she was like she kind of got her spirit in some way. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. Aww, in safe hands. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of here. But we're still splitting up. No, just kidding. Just for a few days, guys. But all he's able to do is to get me to sit, make sure I'm not trashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet's on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Wherever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually, the pain dies down into a dull ache, and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. It's only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. A coughing wrecks my body now that I don't feel like choking. And it just all feels so horrible. But I don't care. I don't care.
Please!
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hana. You're safe now.
Zachary. Okay, so she's safe at least, it seems. Like she's safe. So that's good. Right. I'm just going to read a timeline and then probably start recording. Since this is, news. Hannah called Rebecca Gills, hoping to catch up with an old friend. The talk got interrupted by horrible clicking and the cry of a woman from the wine cellar. Okay, so I guess I did some good at least. Okay, we're going to read this next. The next part. But I'm just too curious, so I just have to look a little bit. And this ended. I'm starting to regret. I'm regretting wanting to split up with Luke now because he might not. That might have just been a lie. Like, I don't know. We'll see. And again, if you want to, I might replay again in the future to get like different endings. If you want to, I can skip this. What's the same dialogue, just to not make it as long, and just if that sounds interesting, let me know. Okay, bye.